To say you gotta know somebody, or know somebody to get somewhere these days. To say you know that's alright, yeah that's alright, cause you know that's alright with me. Yeah, you know that's alright, yeah that's alright, cause you know that's
We have a deal that we're actually meeting with Glenn about tomorrow. You want to tell him about how that, you talked about it a little bit. You want to tell him the other side of that deal and how it went down?
I'll tell you about it. The guy who called me on the truck for this house in Warminster, his house is a wreck, and the money that he's going to get from this real estate transaction, he needs it. He's got some debts and stuff that he's got to pay off. He's going to be walking with some money, but not a whole lot. He's really got his back against the wall because he got downsized in his job and he's making a lot less money than he used to. And he doesn't have a whole lot of options right now. He's got bad credit. The only thing he had in the world to negotiate with was this house, which he knew I wanted to buy. So he says to me, well, I could probably get 180 grand for this house right now. And I think he's probably right. He could. He said, I'll sell it to you for 140. So he's got my attention. I'm listening. This is the seller lowering his price for me. But he says, but there's a catch.
I won't take cash.
I want you to help me buy my next house. He goes, you buy houses, right? You're Mr. I buy houses. So help me buy a house. Because I can't get a house. I don't have the credit. I have some money, but I don't have the credit. So it was like fun for us. It was like a challenge. Yeah, okay. So we made a deal. We said, first, we want an agreement of sale to buy your house for 140 grand. He said, no problem. We put in the contract that if we found him a place to live that was suitable to him, he even gave us the development he wanted to live in. If we find him a house, he'll sell us this house for 140. But if we don't find him a house, we have to pay 160 for the house. So I said, okay, it's a deal. So we signed the contract. And the first thing I did was he told me what development he wanted to buy in. So I'm a realtor. I went on Trend. I found that there was about 7 houses for sale in that development. I called every single one of the realtors. And maybe 2 of them called me back, 2 or 3 of them called me back. Most of the other ones didn't want to bother with me. And I left them a message. I said, my name's Phil Falcone. I'm interested in buying your property. I represent an investor who's got a huge appetite, wants to buy some properties in this development right away. We got just enough money to buy 2 of them, so call me right away, because I'm calling everybody, right? And only like 3 of the agents even called me back.
With that message?
Yeah. One of them calls me back, and I said, how much do they owe on the property? I said, my guy likes to take over financing. He likes to make payments on existing financing, and most times when you approach a realtor who basically only know how to do deals one way, which is the conventional way, 20% down, go to a bank and buy the property. Usually you get hung up on real quick, okay? I got a little bit lucky. I got a young woman who was working as an assistant for this realtor. And she says, I never heard of that. I'm talking to her about a program called Subject To. Basically what it means is that you, instead of paying off their mortgage when you buy the house, the mortgage that's on the house remains in position. It remains there. And you simply make payments on the existing mortgage that's already there. Okay? So I got a little bit lucky. This young girl who answered the phone, she had an open mind. And I said, I'd really like to talk to your seller. Now, usually if you ask a realtor to talk to their client, forget it. It's like a wall. It's like the Great Wall of China. You ain't getting over it. She said, I'll tell you what. She goes, I won't give you his number, but I'll have him call you. So he calls me right away. He called me in like 10 minutes. I talked to the guy. He was pretty cool. His mother owned a condo. She died. And he'd been trying to sell it for a while, and I guess there's 6 of them for sale, and there's not a tremendous amount of them that sell every year. And bottom line is he wants $93,000 for this condo, and his mother has a loan on it of $65,000. Now usually when you're taking over an existing loan, the biggest concern of the seller is am I going to make payments on the loan? But this loan was in his mom's name and she's dead. So he didn't really care a whole hell of a lot. The only money that he's getting from the transaction is the difference between what's owed on the house, 65 grand, and what I was buying it for, 93 grand. That's the only money he was getting. So he says to me, okay, I'll do the deal. So I put this whole deal together in
Through
like
an agent.
a couple of phone calls with the real estate agent, okay? That's tough. Usually we do these deals all day long, direct with sellers. I'm sitting at a kitchen table, I'm the buyer, they're the seller. Much, much easier. But in this case, it worked. So,
That's a miracle.
okay, that's only one part of the deal. We got 65 grand, but we need 93 grand, right, to buy this house. So I went back to the guy who's selling us the house in Warminster, and I said, let's get you over to a mortgage guy right away and see if you could get qualified for a mortgage. And he already told me he had lousy credit and everything, but you don't take his word for it. You send him to a professional, see what we can do. Professional takes a look at him, and 24 hours later says, forget it, man. There's no way this deal's getting done. So I put it back on him. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll put up a $65,000 mortgage on this house. You got to put up the rest of the money, right? Well, this is not a guy who has a whole lot of options. He doesn't have a whole lot of options in the world. He agreed to it. I said, I already found you one. I'll get it under contract in just a couple of days. I'll put up $65,000. Right? Now, I'm not putting up $65,000 of my own money. I'm not going to a bank to borrow $65,000, but my ability to negotiate, to utilize the existing mortgage that was in his mother's name, which is in place, and it's a 30-year mortgage. What is it? It's 5% interest. 30 years. She's paid off, 6 years off of it already? Okay? I'm not going to be paying the mortgage anyway. He is. Okay? So he's going to take, so think about all this for a second. Just wrap your head around this.
It's a pretty complex deal.
It is. There's two deals. I'm buying his house for $140. I'm going to sell it to a flipper, hopefully, for $180. So I'm going to make $40,000 for that transaction. The profit I make from the deal is going to go in my pocket, and we're probably going to reinvest it in a deal down in Florida. The money that he walks away from settlement on, he's going to take that money from Glenn's title company, and they're going to transfer it to be the down money to make the difference between the 65 grand and the 93 grand on the new house that I'm buying. But since I'm putting up 65,000 and he's only putting up like 30, he can't own the house yet, okay? So we own the house. We are on contract to buy the house. And we're the ones that are going to be responsible for making payments on his mother's mortgage. This guy's putting up 30 grand cash. So what we're going to do with him is we're going to give him an option to buy the house. So here's the terms. Part of his responsibility is he has to put down $30,000 to $35,000. He's got to pay the closing costs too. So he's got to put up $35,000 to complete the sale of the new condo. And for putting up that money, we're going to give him an option to buy the house. So here's the option agreement. We're buying it for $93,000. So if he buys it in the first year, he gets it for $103,000. If he buys it in the second year, he gets it for $113,000. He buys it in the third year, he gets it for $123,000. Okay?
We're actually worth $123,000 right now.
Yeah, right now it's a good deal because right now the condos are selling for about $123,000 right now. The only reason I got this one cheap was because the seller just wanted out, and there was a structural issue with it, but not a major one, but a structural issue. So.
That the association is responsible for, which is funny.
Right. Yeah, it's a complicated thing. But keep in mind, this guy doesn't have a whole lot of options. He's in a house that's totally wasted, and him and his wife just want to get on with their lives in a nice house.
That they don't have to maintain. It's
right.
a condo. They don't have to do the outside maintenance. They're older.
Right.
So think about the benefits from his perspective.
Yeah, he made out.
And his
Really?
house
Really?
is,
No,
and
he made out.
his
Yeah.
wife is a serious hoarder. And the furniture is not good. And this house, when the lady died, she left all the furniture.
Oh my
It
God.
comes with all the furniture. I'm like, dude, is this freaking perfect or what? Okay? And the guy loves us. I mean, the guy loves me. He's like, who the hell could have put this together? And the whole thing happened like in a week. So he thinks I'm like a magician or something. It's hilarious, but you can see the moral of the story is not that I'm a magician. The moral of the story is you just you see something you want to do, think about it, talk to people, make phone calls, make it happen. make things happen. Will it to happen. If you're addicted to real estate, you're having fun. Him and I were saying, gee, hell, man, this could be like a pretty big chapter in a book. This
one deal.
This one deal. It could be a heck of a story. You know? And think about this for a second, okay? We get paid 40 grand in profit for a house we never bought. We never borrowed money on. We never put a dime of our money into. We make 40 grand off of it. Then, in addition to the 40 grand, we also own the new condo, right? Which comes with a renter, because he has to pay us rent, right? Okay, his rent's going to be like $1,000. That's going to cover the rent, the taxes, the insurance. We have to pay this underlying mortgage that we're taking over. And it has condo fees. And part of what's the problem with tenants? Sometimes they don't pay you, right? Well, this guy put 30 grand into the deal, and one of the conditions of the option is going to be, look, if you don't pay us every month, you lose your option to buy the house. So if he really wants to buy this house, he must pay us every month in a timely manner.
And he's got really, really bad credit. So just as much as we're taking a risk, but the reason we're willing to take the risk is because he has so much skin in the game.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's got a lot of skin in the game.
Because
He's not going to walk away
Where's he
from.
going to go? If he
Well, that's the other area. He has no
Where he
options.
can't go anywhere.
We have one
he
little.
can go on the street. But
We have one little concern. The condo's pretty nice, and the house he was living in is a disaster zone. So we're like, well, hope he doesn't. He took 30 years to wreck the other house, so maybe it will take 30 years to just.
But he's not bringing anything, right? His wife doesn't need to bring anything.
Well,
Meaning, like, what's it going to look like a year from now, 2 years from now?
Let's think about this. You get paid 40 grand to do the first transaction. You basically got an existing mortgage takeover and this guy's cash to buy the second house. So that's a no money down deal for us. We make a cash flow of $120 a month off of the rent that he's going to be paying us. He must pay us every month or he loses his option. So I doubt he's going to screw that up, okay? And in 3 years, it's probably going to take him a couple of years to get qualified for a mortgage to execute his option. So,
At today's price.
let's say that 3 years from now he buys it, he has to buy it for 123. We make another 30,000 bucks off
Right.
the thing. Okay? You ready? You get it? This is fun.
But the whole thing
What do you mean you hate me? You should go talk to this guy. Say you hate me. This guy freaking loves
I'm being
us.
sarcastic.
Do you know what I'm
Every
saying?
time I think I do a good deal,
He always
the
does
deal
better.
is so incredible. The deal you come up with, I can't even fathom it. But you know what? The last time you taught me how to do a subject to deal, within a week I got one.
But think about this guy's negotiation power. Like his daughter wanted to meet us because she said, I just want to make sure that my dad is not getting a bum deal out of this. And Phil's like, are you kidding me? He goes, look what your dad did. He came to us saying, you can't buy my house unless you give me another house.
Yeah, right.
That he goes, who would possibly entertain that? Except for
The
us.
moment he presented it to me, the first thing I did was compliment him. You know, I appreciate that. I appreciate a good business skills. I said, dude, that's brilliant. That's really clever. I said,
Yeah, your dad's doing all right. Yeah.
yeah. And we told his daughter, we're like, you don't need to worry about him. You need to take notes because that's a good negotiating
He
strategy.
used what he had to get what he needed to get what he wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like a brilliant because he now from our perspective we're investors, so we're looking at the money end of it. From his perspective, he went to a god awful house that he can't stand being in. It needs tons of repairs. The roof is leaking. All sorts of stuff's going on. That he has got a lawn that he has to maintain, and he can't do it. And he doesn't want to maintain it anymore. Doesn't want to get on the roof anymore. To a condo that he couldn't qualify for, that we're getting him. And we're essentially financing for him until he can get his credit fixed up so he can get his own financing, at which time he negotiated a bargain deal because he's getting it for today's prices tomorrow.
Exactly.
Right. So from his perspective, it's beautiful too.
Yeah.
And he goes, look, as long as you guys, I'll let you guys make money if you let me get into a condo. And he basically penalized us if we didn't give him a condo. We had to pay $20,000 more if he couldn't get the condo. It's like, wow, this is cool.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But that's a deal that's, deals aren't found, they're engineered. So that was an engineered deal.
They're creative.
So you find opportunities in the market, and deals you create. So you're like, I can't find any deals, You don't find deals. You find an opportunity, and you make a deal. So you ever hear, let's make a deal? The make part is where the deal is. It's not let's find a deal, let's make a deal.